I heard Gustafsson said yesterday, I'm a little bummed out. I went from pay-per-view to Fight Pass. First of all, the fight is here in the UK. The fight is being distributed to 350 million possible viewers, okay, throughout the world. This fight is available in Canada, Brazil, Mexico, Bolivia, Chile, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, the Philippines, Australia, Mongolia, India, New Zealand, the UAE, Abu Dhabi, and all of those countries down there. In the UK, the entire card will be on BT Sport, okay? The entire card, and the main event for the first time ever here will be on Channel 5, Open TV to everybody. The main event will be. We're in Ireland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Croatia, and Israel. All of those countries on television, 350 million homes. The Americans have to pay for it on Fight Pass. So the reason that this happened is we added 10 more fights. We went to Fox and tried to see if Fox would pick up these 10 more fights, and they didn't. So that's why we put these on Fight Pass. So
why didn't they pick it up?
Why what?
Why didn't Fox pick it up?
They don't, they create their budgets at the beginning of the year, and it wasn't in their budget to pick up these fights. Not to say they don't pick them up later or whatever could happen with the deal, but that's what happens. So it's either nobody gets to see them or you put them on Fight Pass. So I hope that clears up some of the questions about Fight Pass. And like, this thing was only, and anybody else in the rest of the world and countries I didn't call, that I didn't say a minute ago, they get it on Fight Pass too. Which, of course, all these people in other countries are pumped to pay for it on Fight Pass, whereas the Americans who are used to getting these fights for free, some of them are a little twisted. But whatever.
What have you guys done differently in terms of getting the message out? I mean,
good question. We did. We had that press conference, but even at that press conference, we talked about Fight Pass, what it is, what it's going to be, but I don't know if we really explained, how many other countries this would be in on some form of television.
I think the day you launched it, you didn't have a plan for DRM.
And you might be right. You might be right. I don't remember, but you're probably right. So what else?
Yesterday it was announced that UFC Sweden 3 will be on October 4th, the same day as a UFC Fight Night event in Canada. Is that correct? They'll have two events on the same day?
That is true. Right?
That is true.
That's not the only time.
Are we going to see Alexander on that card? And is it going to be a title fight?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, we got to see what happens tonight, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I love your optimism in him winning tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with him, and obviously, we'll start building that card as it gets closer.
But is it a possibility in a long-term way to see a title fight in Sweden?
Yeah, well, I was talking about that earlier today. Yeah, it's absolutely a possibility that we could do that fight in Sweden. I mean, it would be huge. But the problem is that the time difference between the United States and, obviously, when we do big fights like a Jones-Gustafsson type fight, you like to do it in Las Vegas. Vegas is always a great place for everybody to go. It's it's a lot easier to do really big fights there. But again, I'm not ruling out that we wouldn't do it up in Sweden.
How do you think the fight goes tomorrow then?
Both great stand-up guys. Mantle was in the best shape I've ever seen him in today at the weigh-ins. He looked better than I've ever seen him. And Gustafsson is a beast, so we'll see. I don't know.
Did you miss London? Is it nice to be back to London?
It is nice to be back to London. It's nice to be back to London when there's good weather here. I like this. This is a serious change of pace.
What's taking you so long?
Well, we've been back here. I just haven't been back here. I've been a little busy.
That's what I'm talking about. Why?
Yeah. Well, we're in this position now where last month I was on the road for like 3.5 weeks straight, and then when you get back into the office, I have work to do too, catching up with the team and doing things that need to be done. It's tougher for me to travel as much as I used to. There was a point in time when I was like, I'm still going to every fight, and then we had 10 more fights, and then we had 10 more fights, and it's tough to do.
What is it about the British fight fans here in the UK?
They're nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
I just told the fighters, I said, for those of you that have never fought in the UK, get ready, because tomorrow's going to be a fucking experience. It's awesome. The only thing I can compare it to is like Brazil. Brazil and the UK, if you've never seen a fight in Brazil or the UK, it's something you have to put on your bucket list because it's pretty special.
Now you're going to have Canada mad at you now, too. You're going to have Canada mad at you now.
Canada's already mad at me. It's going to be a while before they're not mad at me.
Swedish fans have been chanting every match. That's not a good crowd too?
Huh?
But Swedish fans...
Swedish, oh, here we go. Now I'm hurting everybody's feelings. Yes, the Swedish fans are awesome.
Come from Paris. Is it for an event in Paris?
What about it?
Paris, France. Is it
Yeah, that's, we love that market. We want to go there. It's we're working it. We're massaging it. We're getting it done.
Last Friday, Joe Rogan said on a LA radio station that there was a big secret regarding the women's division. Can you shed any light on this? And can you announce what this big...
Joe Rogan blew my whole week with that interview, okay? I've been getting terrorized ever since he said it. There's nothing done as far as her next opponent is, and Kat Zingano has gone kind of radio silent on me. She's been through a lot of stuff, so I don't know where she's at or what she's thinking. But and Ronda's on vacation. She's like in Costa Rica or something. She's off the grid for a while, so no big announcements yet.
So no Gina Carano, there's no Ronda Rousey for the Cyborg or Gina Carano in the works?
So when people started talking about the Gina Carano thing, I literally didn't even know how many fights we had Gina Carano under. She's still under a Strikeforce deal. So when everybody started calling me about this thing, I asked our legal team. She's got a 4-fight deal left with Strikeforce under a Strikeforce contract.
Is that still valid?
Yeah. I mean, when you go on a hiatus, whether you're injured or semi-retired or whatever, you're still under contract. If you come back, you're still under contract with us. So she is under contract with us, but I have no plans right now.
If she wanted to fight for you in the UFC, would you make that fight happen?
If she wanted to fight in the UFC, yes, of course. If Gina Carano wanted to fight in the UFC, we would definitely do it.
Would you give her an immediate title shot? I think that's what a lot of people on. Well, that's what people on Twitter are talking about too.
Yeah, I have literally avoided every conversation about this since Joe Rogan went on the radio show, and speculation was Gina Carano, and I don't know.
Have you talked to Joe about it? I mean,
yeah, I did. I said thanks, Joe.
Where's he getting this from then? Is it just Joe being Joe and like no moon landings and stuff like that?
Joe doesn't just go out and start making shit up, But he never said Gina Carano was coming to the UFC. He never said that.
Have you spoken to Nate Diaz, Dana?
I have not.
What did you make of his tweet?
What did he tweet?
He said that he basically wants to be released from his UFC contract.
Really?
Yeah.
He hasn't called me.
Is
that how we do these things?
Apparently so. But if he asks you, if he gets on the phone and calls you and he asks to be released, would you release him?
The answer would be no. He just signed a new contract that he was happy with a month ago.
What do you make of behavior like that from fighters on Twitter when they kind of say something controversial like that?
I don't think that's definitely not controversial for the Diaz brothers. That's called normal. But now, it's listen, I got 500 guys under contract, and there's always something. Every day when I wake up, there's something.
What's been the fallout from the whole TRT thing in terms of what you guys have to deal with in the office?
The fallout has been zero. ESPN, as usual, they like to embellish shit. First of all, we have 500 guys under contract. Now that this new thing has come in and TRT is banned, 5 guys can't take TRT. Out of 500, 5 guys had exemptions. They made it sound like it's rampant throughout the MMA world. You know what I mean? If 5 guys is rampant, what? Say it. Say it.
What's been? How about you and Vitor specifically? I mean, you defended, him being on it because it was legal, and there was some controversy over whether or not he pulled out of the fight or you guys pulled him out.
Here's the other thing ESPN said in their story. When Dana White was has talked about this in the past, he was flip-flop. I never fucking flip-flopped. Ever did I flip-flop. I said right off the bat, I don't like it. We shouldn't use it. I get it. It's science. I even said it's a loophole in the system.
Yeah.
What happens is you have science goes out there and they create this thing where men, as they get older, get lower testosterone, and they can build your testosterone back up. But of course, you're always going to have fucking guys that, well, if this much brings me back to normal, where does this much take me? right? That's always going to happen if you have a loophole like that in the system. I've been the guy who's been vocal about it and said it should go away, it should go away, it should go away. And if you don't think that had a huge impact on why it went away, you're crazy. So the whole ESPN, that thing was such a sham. That story was such a sham, and of course they ran the shit out of it, you know, because it's negative. Half of it wasn't true, or was just embellished. You know, it's rampant throughout MMA. 500 guys, five guys can't have exemptions now. That's rampant.
Do you think?
So what were you asking me about Vitor?
Do you think he'll be able to come back without it? First of all, I mean, he's one of the guys who have said, I absolutely have to have this to be able to compete.
Right.
And then he falls off the card and says, okay, well, I'll just cycle off it and I should be fine.
Yeah.
Chael also said that. Chael too.
Yeah. There are other ways of getting your testosterone.
Who knows what's going to happen? And at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. I don't care. If you need that stuff to perform and compete, you probably shouldn't perform or compete anymore. You know what I mean? Have I flip-flopped ever on my stance on this stuff? It goes away. I don't give a shit. Not my problem. And that fight, the whole Vitor thing, that battle's not my battle. That's Vitor's battle.
Vitor Belfort claimed that he still is next in line for a title shot at middleweight. Is that correct?
Claims that he's still what?
He's next.
Sure, he's still in line. You know, that doesn't take him out of line at all. I mean, the fights he's won. And I can tell you this, Vitor Belfort, every time he was tested by us, was within his levels. He was where he was supposed to be. And I also told you guys that we were going to test the shit out of him, and we did. And he was always within his levels. I don't like cheating, whether it's with drugs. I don't like fighters getting ripped off by referees. I don't like fighters getting ripped off by judges. I don't like any of that. I like a fair playing field and everybody to, everybody's given the opportunity and everything should be fair. That's why I've been screaming and yelling about athletic commissions getting the right judges and refs, and I could care less if TRT goes away. Government, there's a loophole that was there. Now it's gone.
Were you taken by surprise when the assembly or the commission voted, or the council voted that day?
Nope.
Did you know it was coming?
No, I didn't know it was coming, but I've been given a lot of heat. I've been talking about it nonstop, that it's bullshit and it should go away. So no, I wasn't shocked when they did it. And I'll tell you this too. You know, you guys have heard me rip Nevada many, many times. Nevada's done a fantastic job. Cisco is really doing a great job over there right now, and all the other athletic commissioners. So I couldn't be happier with the commission now. I think they're doing a great job.
A few years ago, when you first bought Strikeforce, I remember you saying that you had big plans, and you couldn't reveal what those big plans were going to be because of what went down with the network. Now that the dust has settled on the whole Strikeforce deal and being formed into the UFC, can you just give us some insight about what your original big plans were?
No clue. I don't even remember.
Don't you remember that?
I don't even remember.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You said you had some big plans for Strikeforce and what you were going to do with it.
We probably did it. We probably did something fabulous and it was great, and I just don't remember it.
Okay,
And Dana, it seems like you take a real personal liking to Gunnar Nelson. He's been out in the UK 2 times. How excited are you to have him
He's
back?
an exciting fighter, and the guy he's fighting is exciting too. That's going to be a great fight. Yeah, I like the kid. He's very talented. Fun to watch.
If Brad Pickett wins tomorrow, can he be next in line for a title shot as a DJ?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Can I
he
ask
could
you
be.
about London? It's 4 years since you've been back at this venue. You've been here a couple of days already, yeah? Have you noticed there's a difference here? Did you feel something different this time? Are you feeling there's something shifting, there's something, the plates are moving?
This is what feels different right over here. Told you guys when we hired him what was going to happen. I told you this was the guy for the job, and he's done. Look at what he's delivered in the short time that he's been here. You know, we've had people over here for years that in the total amount of time that everybody who was here didn't do anything compared to what this man has done in a short amount of time. You know, how about this? How about tomorrow night, the main event is going to be on live open TV here. You know how huge that is? I mean, we had such a hard time trying to get a pay-per-view deal here. This guy gets it on free TV. The deal he just did down in UAE, the stuff he's doing in Europe right now. The guy's a rock star and has hit the ball out of the park.
If I said that the chess pieces feel in place now, would that be the right?
No doubt about it. He has lined this thing up to be a huge success now. This is what we've been waiting for since 2002. Everything we wanted to do since 2002, he has done. And how long have you been with us?
17 months.
In 17 months, that's what this guy has delivered.
I think the Channel 5 deal is probably the biggest news story here in the UK for the UFC in the last couple of weeks. I was speaking to Gary about this just the other day, just to give people perspective of what a big deal this is. Your old friend Tyson Fury, when his boxing fights air on Channel 5, he gets in a region of 2 million viewers. So what could the UFC potentially do on Channel 5?
That's awesome. I don't know. We're going to find out. I hope we do Tyson Fury numbers or more. I don't know. I don't know what the potential is, but I know this. Every country we've gone into, when we've been able to secure a free TV deal, it's been a home run.
But surely the double pronged attack is the fact you've got a subscription deal with one channel and the terrestrial network as well to have both
and
together.
Fight Pass.
We couldn't get a television deal here. Now we got two. It's amazing. One on free TV and the other one on BT. You can watch the whole card on BT, and you can watch, the main event on both.
And there's no debate tomorrow. If Alexander wins, he's getting a title shot. There's no chance that Cormier can sneak in there.
No debate.
Any other.
No debate. No debate. He's got to win tomorrow night, and then Jones has to beat Glover Teixeira, and that fight will happen.
But if Manuel won, there might be a chance for Daniel or not?
I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
If Teixeira wins, then it's Teixeira and Gustafsson. Gustafsson's getting a title shot no matter what.
Am I making fights that didn't even happen yet?
But we all know that the Jones and Gustafsson rematch was the one that everybody was hinging on them winning, and if something crazy happened with Jones and he didn't win, and you're saying Gustafsson.
If Teixeira stubbed his toe, he might not be able to do it, so maybe Cormier would fight.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is Cormier getting a title shot?
There's a million things that could happen.
Gilbert Melendez said that he's going to bring the Diaz brothers on board for his coaching staff for the new season of Tough. So you're going to be spending a lot of time with the Diaz brothers. Is that something that you're looking forward to?
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
But obviously that's good.
Actually, the crazy thing about this thing is I actually like the Diaz brothers. Are they nutty as hell? Yes, they are. I like both of them, and they're fun to watch fight.
Do you have a location yet for the Chael Vanderlei fight? I mean, we know it's May 31st. We know it's Brazil. Do you guys have a city for it yet? Working on it. And then secondly, Berlin was announced for the same day, so we know at least 2 different times this year we're going to have 2 events on the same day. So you guys are trying to kill us, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
How many more times is that going to happen?
I don't know.
Getting it worse.
It's I don't know. Hopefully not too much.
Fascinating to hear with that as well, because we got a big boxing match at Wembley Stadium that night as well. That it's been mentioned that you're going to stagger one UFC event, leave a gap for boxing fans to watch that fight, and then a few hours later you'll get the other event.
Is that true?
That's absolutely true. If you time it just right, which I think the networks are working on right now, you can watch from 6 o'clock in the evening till 6 o'clock in the morning. You'll have a world title boxing match sandwiched between 2 events, one in Brazil and one in.
Is that a bad thing? That's a good thing.
That's a crazy question. Could
Probably.
Yeah, very good. Could there come a time when you actually buy the boxing event as well and show all of those things on the Fight Pass, for example?
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. But if you're a fight fan, that's not a bad thing. That's
a great
good night.
It's a great night.
Could you follow the WWE network and one day have all of your pay-per-views as part of the Fight Pass subscription?
I don't know. We'll have to see what Fight Pass does and where it goes. It has exceeded our expectations. We didn't know what we were going to do when we launched this thing. We had an idea when it was free. We had people in there poking around and trying it, but then when we went live, I expected there to be more people on Fight Pass when it was free than when we went live, but it was the complete opposite. There's way more people subscribed now than when we were actually free. So it's pretty interesting.
What's the fan reaction been like for the Fight Pass? Has it been positive, mixed? What do we say?
Well, there's people who have it and who are, who are out there experiencing love it, and then you're going to have the people that are chirping because they have to pay $10 more. It's part of the growth of the sport. We added 10 more fights. We're moving into these countries, and like I'm sure you've heard him say this a million times, but what we're doing is we're localizing the sport here in these different countries. Here in England, you're never going to become a mainstream sport if you're on at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. So now we're here in your country, which you guys know you want more live events, on your free TV in prime time.
Could you ever see a future where perhaps there's European rankings or European championships?
You know, we've talked about that a million times, and I would never say never, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I like world rankings. On our thing, we're ranking all the way down to 15 now, you know? We could even rank down to the top 20, but when you start getting into the European stuff, and it's like the European guy that's ranked number 1, 2, 3, it's just, that just gets too confused. It's exactly.
Do you have any time plan for when the Strikeforce fights will become available on Fight Pass?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I've been meaning to answer that question too. You know, there's some people out there, oh, the shit isn't on here. You know how much time it takes to get all this stuff? And plus, some of this old footage, we have to take things out. There's some things that we can't leave in there. Old sponsors that were on there and things that you can't do. We can't do it. So some of that stuff needs to be stripped out. We're working on it. The great thing about Fight Pass is it's only going to get better and better and better because more and more content is going to be loaded up on there.
Do you have some kind of estimate of like if maybe it's months?
As soon as possible. I mean, there's literally, as we're standing here talking, there are guys cranking in Los Angeles and Vegas working on that right now as we speak.
Will you always travel?
Yes, I will always travel. That will never, I don't know if I can do every fight, but I'll do as many as I can. I love coming to the fights. I love the weigh-ins. I love the fights, so I'm going to do it as much as I can.
Can you tell me if there's any update on UFC in India? Me being Indian myself, I've got a lot of interest in that. I spoke to Forrest Griffin yesterday, and he said that there's a trip planned for him to go out to India in April. Can you give us any update on India?
We're working on all these markets. You know, it's got to start with the talent first. You get in there and you start cultivating the talent, which we've done in Mexico, which we've done in China, and other places. You want to talk about?
Well, we got, you still haven't started on places like Russia. Poland's still a big market for us. We're in Turkey for the first time. So, people often talk about this sport as, it really was an American sport once. It's taken on Brazil and it's taken on Mexico and Canada, obviously. And the 6.4 billion people in the world, there's only 232 million in America. There's a pretty big opportunity out there.
Is Poland on hold for now? I think in Manchester you said Poland was probably in the plans for this year, but is it on hold?
Yeah, it is for this year. 2015, we're starting to crank for 2015 planning, and it almost seems that every time we put something out there in the plans, everybody sort of jumps up in arms about it. I'd actually like to get to a point where we're mapping out the next 18 months so everybody knows where they are, the fans know what's going to be happening, they know what's going to be happening the fight week, the sponsors and the commercial partners know what's going to be happening, and I think that's an important thing for us. Poland is absolutely on the map for 2015.
Can you give us an update on Cain Velasquez and how he's doing at the moment?
Great, yeah, he's coming along. As long as everything goes, the way it's going now, he should be back soon.
And you said that you won't go to Mexico without him, is that correct?
Won't go to Mexico without him. That would be stupid.
It's been a couple years since the announcement of the International MMA Federation, and I know there's been some amateur national championships, and the plan is in July there will actually be a worldwide amateur championship. Are you involved in that? Have you been in any discussions about this?
Are you working with those guys? The
International MMA Federation?
Yeah, it's always an issue for us on how you build this thing with different organisations, but we can't give too much away on that stuff at the moment, so we just have to keep some of that to ourselves.
Dana, you said a few weeks ago that you were trying to make the fight between Alistair Overeem and JDS, Junior Dos Santos, and you said that basically Overeem was scared of him. Since then, you've announced that JDS is going to be fighting Stipe Miocic. Can you just give us an update on your relationship with Alistair Overeem and when he's going to fight again for the UFC?
As far as I'm concerned, I have a fine relationship with Alistair Overeem. He didn't want that fight, and that's the truth.
He started an injury.
He didn't have that injury when he called Brock Lesnar out. Fucking rib was fine. Hey Brock, I want to fight you. Right? Isn't that what he said? After my rib heals, I'd like to fight Brock Lesnar. Did he say that? He didn't say that, did he? No, he said, I want to fight Brock Lesnar. That's what I want. Come on, Brock. Come on out and fight. He didn't say, I'll fight you after my rib heals. It kind of hurts.
What about Brock? He's coming to the end of his WWE contract soon, I believe, after WrestleMania. Have you had a conversation with him about potentially coming back to the UFC?
His contract's up for another year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We've seen an increasing amount of a large amount of fighters testing positive for marijuana. We saw Jessica I, for example. Is there any plans for maybe altering the rules more?
I can't do that. That's the athletic commission. That's up to them. That's the government. They decide that. You know, Jessica I in any other state doesn't fail for marijuana. She was like a, I don't remember what it was now. It's like a .40 or something like that, and she was a .5.
Yeah, it was
you know, she just barely, or a .41 or something ridiculous. You know, in Texas, any other state, she doesn't test positive for marijuana. But marijuana is a tricky one right now. It's legal in some states. It's not legal in some states. It's not really a performance-enhancing drug, but they look at it as like a type of painkiller. It's a pain in the ass.
But in situations where the UFC is the governing body...
Let me ask you a question. Now the TRT is gone, are you going to start asking me about fucking marijuana now?
We've got to ask about something, right?
Oh my God! What else?
I think the only thing is, just in closing, you know, once we come out of here tomorrow night, it's off to Abu Dhabi. People seem to be forgetting, you know, we got Nogueira and Roy Nelson, another European event for European television and obviously around the world. So let's not forget the other great fights that are coming as well. So look forward to seeing you all tomorrow night.
Boom! Shameless plug at the end of this thing.
You watched the China tough finale on Fight Pass.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of a zany series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, you know.
It was beyond zany.
The yoga guy who was 0-0 coming in and who wanted to be the best MMA guy. It was kind of. It was a bizarre series.
Interesting and very challenging.
Yeah.
To do that in China, but you know what? We got it done.
It was
the finale was awesome.
Yeah.
Kim was a rock star in that fight, and it all went well.
Can I ask you about Kim? Because not only his performance against John Hathaway, but he's got this attitude now, isn't he? He looks like he's ready for a title.
Oh yeah, no, he came out like a man possessed, and like I said, people were talking shit about him. You know, he was boring, he'd wrestle this, that. Boy, he wasn't boring last Saturday, was he?
Does he look like a title?
He looked awesome.
Does he look like a title?
He did that night. We'll see the next fight.
Speaking about tough, there's been a lot of rumours of maybe a England versus Ireland season of tough.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen.
England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales would be.
That's the one.
Ooh, there you go. All right, let's make that one happen.
Well, let me get back to work. Then you got to go.
Brilliant.
You good?
Right.
You done
Yeah,
with me?
good.
Thank you guys for sticking around.